A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away called Scotland, we finally got the news about booster packs for Star Wars Unlimited, and I'm joined by Tony and Mark, as always, to bring you some news about Star Wars Unlimited and just dive into what you're going to see in the boosters, just everything about booster packs, I guess. So we've made some slides, because that's what we do on this channel. Be prepared to be blown away by the presentation of the slides. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're all good. Well, I'm all good. I don't know about Mark. Mark might be having this.
I'm admiring Tony's tie right now, I must confess.
My space tie is, when this goes live, which should be probably next week, be Space Week. So, space tie.
Okay. Space.
That's why I've got a space background, and you've done no effort tonight, Mark. So what's that all about?
I've done as much effort as I always do.
Your display cabinets are looking good at the moment, Mark.
Thank you. No, I didn't. They look exactly the same as they have done. But thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, so let's get into booster packs.
Yes.
Booster packs.
So I suppose the first question is, Tony, do you remember anything from the last video we did on this?
No.
Excellent.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. I do remember some of the things we're talking about, and I have paid attention to what's going on. I have seen the new kind of store-specific packs that they're releasing. I have seen the starter decks, and I'm very excited to see how the booster packs are going to learn, because that's really what's going to make or break this game, is the quality of the boosters, because they're the sort of thing that you're going to be buying and picking up all the time. You might not be buying starter decks very often, but you're certainly going to be doing them with these. So these need to be good. So I'm excited to find out if they are.
Well, from the information we've had so far, they look pretty well thought out and pretty well executed, and they look like a collector's worst nightmare ever.
Is my wallet going to catch fire?
Depends how interested you are in collecting all the shiny versions of all the various cards, because there's a lot of different shiny versions.
Interesting. So next slide.
Yeah, let's do it. So I guess the photo we just saw was a booster pack, and or a box of booster packs. 24. There's 24 booster packs in a box like that.
Yeah.
And the thing that I wanted to put on the slide straight away, that all these booster packs are noted as Spark of the Rebellion.
Yes.
But we have seen that there's both going to be Shadows of the Galaxy and Twilight of the Republic.
Yep.
So you shared this with me, Mark. Do you want to elaborate on that just before we get into boosters?
In one of the initial reveal streams that Fantasy Flight Games did about this game, they said that they've planned far enough ahead that they've got the first years of the content already worked out and done. They've been working on this game for 3 years, and what you see there are going to be the first 3 sets of the game, starting off with Spark of Rebellion. They've not said anything more about the other 2, but you can kind of infer from the titles what's likely to be in them.
Brilliant. So
my expectation is that Shadows of the Galaxy is likely to be... Honestly, I have actually no idea. That could be bleeding anything, like smugglers or crime bosses or syndicates or something.
I hope it is. I want to see if we get some of the old Legends characters popping up.
Twilight of the Republic could be the Clone Warsy Twilight of the Old Republic, or it could be going into episodes 7, 8, and 9, because as the New Republic starts to fall before the First Order, it could be either of those. I'm not really sure. Spark Rebellion so far we've seen has definitely contained things from the Rebels cartoon series all the way through to Return of the Jedi.
Yep. So the ones that they showed is going to be 16-pack decks for Spark of the Rebellion. If you buy the whole box, you're going to get 24 boosters. And then basically said that each one is going to contain 16 cards. You're going to be guaranteed a leader and a base in every booster pack. On the other side of the base...
And it's a really good reason, actually.
Okay.
The reason is, one of the fairest ways you can play any CCG is a sealed booster event. And the idea is that you buy 6 boosters, which is going to be approximately $30 whatever that translates into in UK pricing for when the time comes. And you'll get 6 leaders in that, guaranteed, and you'll get 6 bases in that, guaranteed, to choose from what you're going to make your sealed deck out of. And otherwise, if that was going to be random, that would be pretty awkward or annoying for them to arrange to have to use a sealed format, considering every deck has to have a leader and a base.
I'm quite excited about that because that's always been my very favourite way of playing these sorts of games. Some people have this kind of like unlimited giant piles of money and they buy all of the cards and all of the special ones, things like that. And sadly, I'm middle aged and I've got a family to pay for and things like that, so I can't afford to do that. But the idea of just going in blind, you've got what you've got and you've got to make the best of it. For me, has always been much more exciting than having an unlimited pick of all the best stuff. I just think, that whole limitation breeds creativity. So I'm quite pleased that they've done this.
And if you take the leader and the base out, it leaves you 14 cards. 14 times 6 is something I can't work out very quickly off the top of my head. 84 cards. And the sealed booster format is supposed to be a 30 card minimum deck rather than the usual 50. So a little bit smaller than normal, but you'll have a big pool of cards there with which you choose and decide what your 30 cards are going to be for the deck that you actually build.
What if you run out of cards in a sealed booster format, or is that a question too far in advance to know the answer to?
If the shop runs out of booster packs to sell for a sealed...
I meant more like if you run out of cards because you only put 30 in your deck. Do we know what happens at that point?
You can't run out of cards. As in, you run out of cards to play during the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, we know exactly what happens. The game doesn't end, but every time a mechanic makes you draw a card, you have to take 3 points of damage to your base.
3. Oh, holy. That's a lot. Okay, interesting. Right. So after
cards, we haven't got to any kind of near point where you would get to there, but 30 cards maybe it would be.
Yeah, after you drew your leader and your base, you're going to get 9 commons, 3 uncommons, and 1 rare or legendary card.
They've gone and said a little bit more about these, and commons are going to be, as a general rule, cards that can work in almost any deck. So they might have 1 aspect symbol on them rather than 2, and they'll be very versatile or usable in a lot of different kinds of decks, but maybe a little bit less powerful for doing so. Uncommons, you'll start to see more aspect requirements on the cards, and they'll be useful in less decks, but more powerful for it. They'll have a bit more of a stat budget. And the rare or legendaries will be things that you might want to define or build your entire deck around.
Cool. And then the final card in the pack, I guess card number 16, will be a foil card.
Yep.
Which will be a foil card of any card in the set. Wasn't sure if they meant leaders here as well. I think they maybe do. I'm not sure. The foil card can be of any rarity, which means you could luck into a second rare or legendary card.
I don't think so. I don't think it can be a base or a leader. I may be mistaken on that. But I think that bases and leaders have got their own special WASI types of cards that they can be. That I have no idea if foil is included in there or not. So I
think they are. Yeah, I remember reading in the article you get the kind of special version. I don't know if you've put this in the PowerPoint, John. You get the special version that's got like a no rim or whatever, and then you can have a jazzy foil version of the special one with no. And then isn't there a third one, which is like the mega super rare ultra holographic?
The showcase things which are only ever leaders. Yeah.
So I think if you go on to the next slide, I think we're going to come right on to one version of that, which I guess is the Hyperspace variant.
These look super cool.
They do look cool. And the promo cards they were giving out at Gen Con of Luke and Vader already have that sort of a look to them.
Yeah,
so the art style of this is fantastic. I really like it.
So Hyperspace variant is the exact same card, right? Like there's no difference between like health, mana, any of the rules. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, that is one thing that FFG have been very upfront as the same. All of these different rarities, all these different collectibles, foil, hyperspace, showcast, all this sort of stuff. The mechanics of the card are all the same. So if you're interested in playing the game, the kind of card you collect isn't going to make the blind bit of difference. So you can have the cheapest version of it, and it will still perform as the most expensive version of it, and that'll be fine.
Which is actually really nice because
I think that's really quite sort of player friendly. If
and
not,
the fact that sorry, go on.
Go on, sorry.
No, it's all right. I was just going to say that the fact that the minimum deck size of this game is 50 cards rather than the usual 60 you get in other games, and the maximum number of instances of the card that you can have in a deck are 3 rather than 4, which is some of the other games. means it's going to be easier to get hold of the 3 cards you need if you want to base or run loads of particular cards.
Yeah, and it also gives you some flexibility in how you can, there'll be reason to do trades and stuff like this too, because Akbar here looks very cool when he bleeds out of his frame. So even foil cards can be a hyperspace variant. It says, keep in mind, the difference between hyperspace variants and normal version is purely aesthetic. So you just seek those out for your favorite cards. And I think if we move on, we're going to see another variant, which is
just go back briefly there a moment. I want to go over the implication of that slightly. So if you want a complete set of these for being a collector, then you can get the basic versions, the one on the left, the foily version of the one on the left, the hyperspace version, the one on the right, and a foily version on the one on the right, all of various different rarities. And with 250 odd cards in the set, trying to collect all of those, if it's triggering your collecting instincts, might be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, I'm not going into this I'm going into this to build strong decks, I think, because I'm with Tony here. Like, I got a wife and kids. I'm not allowed to spend $100 every month on foil cards.
So every foil you get, in every booster you get then, or every hyperspace or every foily hyperspace, you could sell and then or trade for multiple non-special rare cards that you wanted.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump on to the next variant, which is the showcase variants. And these look even more awesome than the last one.
So good.
Yeah. So the showcase is the special version of a leader card, and they are foily and unique art, and they've got the kind of borderless look of hyperspace ones. And these are effing rare as all hell. So 24 boosters in a box, 6 boxes in a case. The rarity of the showcase cards is, if I recall correctly, approximately 1 showcase cards for every 12 cases.
12 cases?
Yeah.
Okay, that is rocking horse poo, that is.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, that's Post Malone buying them for $1 million
That's
at that
thousands. Point. Yeah, absolutely. But you will only ever need one of them for your deck, ever, because you only ever need 1 leader. That's it.
Yeah,
and if you just want to whack your bling down on the table, and you've got to showcase your favoured leader.
Just to carry on with that, have you put the other kind of rarities in here, John?
I have, yes.
Oh, brilliant.
Cool. So I think let's move on and we'll see.
There's also something that they've said in the stream following this, which goes into details about what they're going to be giving away in their organised play kits. And there will be special alternate art showcase versions of characters in organised play kits and in pre-release kits as well.
Cool. I did see. Yeah, here you go then. Never tell me the odds. I came up with that. How good a quote was that?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Not a bad one.
So, a legendary is 1 in 8 packs.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. A showcase is 1 in 12 boxes. A foil is 1 per pack.
I'll have a quick look at that.
A foil hyperspace rare legendary is 1 in 50 packs. So, what did we say? 24 packs in a box. So it's kind of 1 in 2 boxes.
Yep.
A hyperspace is 2 in 3 packs. Does that mean 2 out of every 3 or
2 out of every 3? Yeah.
Yeah.
2 out of every 3 packs will have a hyperspace.
Out of every 3 packs, you should get 2 hyperspace, give or take.
Yeah. And then the hyperspace rare / legendary is 1 in 15 packs. So if you're wondering about the exact odds of finding the cards, please keep in mind they said on their website that these odds assume perfect distribution, and the actual odds may vary slightly. So don't go out and buy 12 crates or 12 boxes.
Yeah, you're absolutely wrong. It's boxes, not crates. My mistake. I misremembered that. So that's my
1 in 12 boxes. But there's 24 boosters in a box, so it's 24 times 12, which is 288 boosters, I guess. Right.
So approximately 1 in every 2 crates, give or take.
Boom. Man, I don't know if I'm buying 288 boosters. It was £4 a booster. Give or take.
$100 a box.
That's a lot of boosters,
give
man.
or take.
So you're right. The those showcase leaders are going to be worth somewhere in the region, probably of £500 to £700, I guess. Maybe.
That'll be worth what somebody will pay for them. But
True.
if you're going on the raw odds of how much you'll have to spend to get one, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anything else we want to say about the odds?
Collecting a foil card set is feasible, given that you get one foil in every pack.
Yeah, so arguably with 50 boosters and some nice friends to trade with, you were almost there.
Yeah.
Plus, I haven't been fully keeping up on all the leaders. Well, but I did see that there are the good number of leaders. Like, it seems like even now we know that there's going to be like somewhere like 8 to 10 different leaders, right? Maybe even more.
That's what we've seen so far. And they've also said that all the leaders that we've seen are all common rarity leaders. None of them are rare rarity leaders.
Okay, so if we assume that there's that many leaders, then you would assume that each leader somehow has the deck tailored or built some way towards them. So that would mean that trading people or trading cards with people should actually be quite easy. Because I suppose if you're doing Darth Vader and I'm doing Luke, we've got trades there we can just make all day long, right? And we don't affect each other in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Although Luke and Vader are only available in the starter packs. You can't put boosters, or at least the ones that we've seen that are in the starter decks. At least there might be other variant versions of Luke and Vader that they've not shown us yet, which is entirely possible now that I think about it.
Cool. Yeah, I think if I was going to say other Fantasy Flight games that I've played, they've definitely had like, if you look at Star Wars Legion, they had the starter Vader, and then like at Comic Con or something, they had Vader in an alternative pose. I think his rules were maybe the same, but definitely like different poses or different.
So there's another Star Wars miniatures game called Shatterpoint, which we all looked at a little bit a while ago. That is like a skirmish version of Star Wars Legion. You have like 4 or 5 models at absolute most. And they showed off one of their new expansion packs recently, and I'm mentioning this because you've started me off on it, and I've been reading it. The pack is called Fear and Dead Men, and this team is Darth Vader and 3 Stormtroopers, and that's it. And there's a little story as to where the team name comes from. They're all very flavorful. The Obi-Wan Kenobi one is called Hello There Team Pack, and the Fear and Dead Men actually comes from a comic series called Vader Down. And the idea is that Vader's after Luke, and he crashes on a planet, and all the rebels go, "Oh, Vader's just crashed on a planet. He's on his own. Let's go down there in force with our entire army and try and kill him because it's Vader, and we've got to take this chance, right?" So they all surround him. They all go around him. They're all locking their guns. They've got these tanks all pointing at Vader, standing in the middle, going, "Vader, you're surrounded. You must surrender." And he looks at them and goes, "I'm surrounded by nothing but fear and dead men," and pops his lightsaber.
I think I've seen that somewhere on the internet. Yeah, very cool.
It's that kind of line has sort of surpassed that original bit of media now, and it pops up in a few places.
Yeah.
We're all quite into our Warhammer and things like that, and there's a very similar quote with Constantin Valdor in a similar situation. In one of the books, and a few other places that sort of popped up with people, because it's such a cool line. You can't get more badass than that.
Oh, absolutely.
And to be honest, you can't get more badass than Vader.
So I've arranged an intro game for me for Shatterpoint now, so I've got an excuse to buy some stuff once I've learned how to play it. But anyway,
cool.
I
was going to say, you're going to be broke once we get this game out as well. Okay. Have we got another slide? I feel like we do.
We've got 2 more according to this.
Okay, so this was lifted right from their website. You may be curious why we designed booster packs for the game in this way. The answer is quite simple: to support draft and sealed play. You guys mentioned that. The deck building rules for this game make it so that as long as you have a leader in a base, you include any cards you want in your deck. Thus, by ensuring that every pack has a leader in a base, the store won't need anything other than booster packs to run a sealed or draft event. And we've also
you can include any cards you want. However, in theory, there are some cards that it's really not optimal to include in a particular deck. But you can, as we covered earlier, you can have a lot of choice of the cards you can put in with a sealed 6 sealed boosters.
and then they basically just said that like they want organized play to be integral to the game, which is cool. That also means that they'll be able to do like you said, with organised play kits and stuff like that. And also every single booster pack should be exciting because you will have a chance of the Hyperspace or the Showcase variants, even if you aren't participating in tournaments. So, but yeah, I do want to go back to one of the best times I ever had playing Magic the Gathering was one of those sealed draft decks cards, because you could go into those events with a rough idea of what you wanted to go. But the second you open your first booster packs, you see something and you think, oh, well, I've got this combo, so maybe I should just build my whole deck around that because I know this is a combo that could work. And it kind of, you know, at the end of the day, like when you finish your event, even if you didn't win, you still have a brand new deck to take home that you've played, and you're like, cool, you know, I've got all these cards, I can add them to my existing decks. And yeah, I actually really like that. I'll be driving down to do a tournament with you guys somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I meant what I said. It's absolutely my favourite way of playing, because there is all that excitement, and sometimes when you're there and there's a big group of you, and then somebody draws some like incredibly rare card that's totally useless.
Yeah.
And that's always a bit of a giggle when you're like, I've got this great card, it's worth all this money and it's brilliant, except I can't use it whatsoever.
Yeah. Not in this game, at least, anyway.
Not in this game. I'll use it when I get home, maybe.
Mm.
It's just fun, isn't it?
Some of the stuff they've done for this game really does make it and feed really, really well into how good it is for a sealed play game. For example, if you were doing sealed for Magic, then you'd have to be worried about what kind of colors mana that you could draw and play through the cards you got in your booster cards, and that would dictate the sort of cards that you could choose for your deck and whatnot. But in this game, every card you've got could be a resource. It doesn't matter in the slightest. So you'll have your 6 leaders that you get in your 6 boosters. That will kind of determine what you can or can't play. Your the bases that you draw will add a little bit of flexibility to that. The amount of commons that you get mean that you could essentially just fill out the rest of your deck with commons if you wanted to. You're almost certainly guaranteed to be able to make a fully functional deck with, and just pad them out with fairly cool uncommons or maybe a rare or legendary or 2.
Yeah. Cool. So that was
really well designed.
First look at booster packs. And if you are new to Unlimited Power, the YouTube channel, then here are us. Here we are.
Here are our faces. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
I still can't believe you found these pictures, to be honest, John.
I mean, Facebook's a wonderful
Who
thing,
give you
right?
these pictures, or have you gone out and found them or something?
I got them off your Facebook pages.
Fair enough.
You rolled back as far as the Facebook pages go and thought, well, let's peel these off.
Yeah. To be fair, that's the only picture of me that I'll ever put on any work-related media stuff. So probably the best one.
Cool.
Okay, well, that picture of me was at a fancy dress party in like 2009.
You could have been more topical and got the one with me done up as Darth Maul. That could have been interesting.
Do you know what? If I found that picture, I would have put it on here.
Shit, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Oh well, there we go.
I'm going to go and look for that as soon as we finish recording.
All right, so come back next time for a slide where Mark's face has been replaced with Mark as Darth Maul. Yeah, and consider subscribing to us. We're going to be making content about the game. We're going to be opening booster packs. We're already playing some live games. There's more to come.
And having really good fun playing it as well.
Yeah.
Even though we get the rules wrong 2 games out of 2 so far. But
I mean, I'm taking that victory in the second game because you forgot.
Yeah, you do that. That's fine.
So, yeah, brilliant.
Right. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Leave us a comment.
See you.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Indeed.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.